Hey guys, so Snow White is finally out after a year's delay and facing a lot of controversy for its casting of Rachel Zegler and Gal Gadot, and for what they've said, but also for what Disney did to the dwarves. So reluctantly, we've watched Snow White and wanted to give you guys our thoughts on the movie. So this is going to be our spoilers review. Please like and subscribe and comment down below with your thoughts on Snow White. Is it as bad as you thought it was going to be? And we're just going to get straight into our review. So overall, the movie was interesting, I think it's fair to say. I had very low expectations for it just from what we'd been hearing, and it was looking like it would be a complete and utter mess, but it wasn't that bad. Now, I'm not saying it was great because it really wasn't, but it definitely wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be. So I want to start off with a soundtrack for once, and then I want to move on to the juicy bits because there's a lot to talk about. So the musical songs were okay. None of them caught my attention, and I definitely won't be listening to them again. But in terms of the singing, it was actually pretty decent. It didn't sound auto-tuned or anything, which I was worried about, so that was a positive. But can we talk about Hi Ho? What did they do to that song? It was atrocious. If you're going to ruin an absolute classic, then just create a new one, you know? And they didn't even whistle. I was like, during the movie, I was gonna like, and I was like, why aren't they whistling? Princess Problems. Just the title of the song. It's enough to put me off completely. And then moving on to the score. Are you okay, Grace?
It's just bringing back memories.
Oh, I'm sorry. After today, we don't even need to talk about this movie. Actually, we might need to do a debate, but apart
I
from
think
that,
we know what wins.
that's
Yeah.
true. Moving on to the score, it didn't really stand out to me. I think the score of Beauty and the Beast, the live action version, was miles better. So yeah, overall the soundtrack was okay. And then moving on to the characters and the story now. So starting with Snow White, so Rachel Zegler, who plays Snow White, wasn't totally bad. I think there was definitely something missing. The Snow White from the original just hits differently, and Rachel was, she had some of the same characteristics, but it just wasn't the same. Just there evidently was something missing. And something that just completely put me off was their facial expressions. There were just some moments that it looked completely fake and insincere and it's sort of like someone like sculpted it and it was like she was like stuck in that pose. But you can see in the trailers, like I thought it was just me like seeing something bad in the trailers, but you can even see it in the trailers and her costume. Oh, it didn't suit her well. I'm sorry. They ruined the Snow White costume. I mean, it's not ever been like one of my favorites, but it is really nice. And it was the first princess costume we ever had from Disney. I don't even understand like where she got it from, like in terms of the story. Like it seems like the evil queen wasn't spending money on creating outfits for her. Because one moment we see her in her servant clothing, and the next moment she's in the forest in some nice outfit. Like it didn't make sense. But yeah, Snow White, okay, not great. Evil Queen, I was really expecting a lot of development, but it was missing. Her outfits were horrible. Her song was really bad. It was an abomination. And I honestly don't even think she was evil. Yeah, I get she was taxing the people, but I didn't even get a feeling of her being evil. Like they should have shown us a scene of the village of like people in the village starving or like them just not having like the stuff that they need, like food and stuff. But we didn't actually see how hair coming into power has actually impacted the people. And then if we compare Gal Gadot's version of Evil Queen to Julia Roberts' version of the Evil Queen in Mirror Mirror, Julia Roberts was absolutely outstanding. She played the Evil Queen perfectly well, and in every scene, you never forget she's evil. But here, Gal Gadot's version, it just did not even feel like a villain. I don't even know if it's just me, but her acting again, it lacked. It was really bad. And she wasn't even in the movie for most of it. And then Jonathan. You know what? I can't say anything bad because he wasn't actually that bad. Like he was an interesting-ish character, though we didn't really get to learn a lot about him. But yeah, I personally, I'd take him any day over Prince Eric from the live action movie, who I just could not stand. But the chemistry, Disney are really failing at this chemistry because I'm just not feeling it. It was non-existent. I mean, I'm glad they kept the love interest for the story because I was really worried after hearing what Rachel had to say. And like, there's not gonna be a prince, and it's not a love story and all that stuff. But yeah, I didn't feel any sparks or anything, so I'm not sure if I would have preferred if they had kept it or not. And finally, we have to talk about the dwarves. What did they even do? The CGI was atrocious. If you've seen the Santa Claus 2, they reminded me of the fake Santa Claus from that movie, who's like a plastic toy soldier.
Mm.
It's literally they looked absolutely horrible. And I mean, apart from the issues with casting Rachel Zegler and Gal Gadot, there was controversy about the Dwarfs too, all based on comments made by Peter Dinklage, not really making it a fair decision as it's the opinion of one person and not of the whole community of whether they should use actors with dwarfism or not. But yeah, it's a tough decision for Disney. I get that because I think either way they would have faced backlash from the audience, like whether they do end up using actors with dwarfism or not. But yeah, I think they just messed it all up, and I don't even know. I think they should have given more people a chance, at least to get their opinion and stuff, because I feel like the majority were saying they were happy with it. And I think there's a lawsuit going on now as well with some of these actors, like making the stand against Disney and saying it's discrimination. Not sure if that's true, but if it is, good on them.
Mm.
And then Dopey. Dopey was my favorite. Like I loved how he got more of a spotlight. But yeah, in just general, they were all okay. I wish they would have said, or maybe I missed it, like what they were doing mining, like what the purpose was it? Like there could have been some sort of twist there, like the queen was forcing them to mine or something and like making it even more evil. But it just felt like they were mining for like, was it diamonds and stuff? And it was like, why? What are you doing with them? Are you like just storing them in a basket or something? And then the story for the most, like it follows the story of the original Snow White movie with some changes to like, the exclusion of the prince and the ending. But yeah, it's pretty similar, which I was worried about. I wasn't sure how far they'd deviate from the original, so I'm glad they didn't completely butcher it and kept the story's integrity. I have to say though, I felt like there were moments when there were scenes missing, like when the evil queen delivered the box from the huntsman. But when she creates the apple, like there were just moments that it didn't feel right, which was a shame. Like it felt like it had been heavily cut in moments and just there were bits missing. Like it just felt a bit all over the place. And the ending, it was a letdown. I was expecting something more, but it didn't stand out to me anything. I don't even really understand what happened to the Evil Queen. It kind of reminded me of the Huntsman movie, but yeah, it wasn't really explained well. Like, if I didn't understand it, I don't know how a kid's understanding it. But yeah, overall, the movie was better than expected, but it's nothing to cheer about or rush to watch or even watch again for me personally. And if you do want a live action Snow White movie with some twists, check out Mirror Mirror. It is 100 times better and actually feels authentic. And of course, if you love a good villain, I can only say Julia Roberts' portrayal of the Evil Queen is definitely one to watch. So yeah, mostly negative. Sorry, guys.
I feel like Emily has really deep dived into the majority of our opinions throughout this film. Don't get me wrong, there were quite a few moments during the film I did chuckle, and I did quite like find it quite funny. And there were a couple of bits where I was like, okay, that was quite cool. But for the most part, I was not too happy with the film. As Emily said, it's not atrociously bad, but it wasn't great either. Obviously, Emily's kind of gone through the main points, but there was just a couple of others. Her dress. It doesn't do the original justice, and also it kind of just looked really cheap. I don't know if that was just me, but it looks like she was cosplaying Snow White rather than being Snow White. It looks like she's got a cheap Tesco or Asda or something dress and just purchased it from there and popped it on, and it looks like there was actually like there was no meaning behind it or anything. And it's just like, okay, we've been given some really cool dramatic films from Disney, and they've always come with the most extravagant dresses or really pretty scenes, and I feel like we're really lacking in this one. Don't get me wrong, we've got quite a few, but it just didn't add up to what Disney usually has. As for what Emily said about the facial expressions, shall we say, I think I pointed this out while we were watching, actually, and she just, all of them just seem so animated. Like they look like stop motion figures or something. I can't explain it, but they looked ridiculous in some shots. And I was literally there like, this looks like she looks like she's trying to act for like something like the Corpse Bride. Like her eyes are huge and her mouth is like wide open, or she's doing like, I don't know, just like something that just does not fit. Don't get me wrong, I know you're trying to recreate an animation, but that doesn't mean you need to actually become it. Um, as for the story depth, there was just so many places this could have gone, and I understand that it's basically a reenactment of the animation, but we've had that before, and they've had story development and character development, and like Emily said, it just felt like people cut out. We had a book, and they just chopped loads of tiny holes, maybe misplaced some of them, but kept the majority of the book hollow. The ending with the queen, did she die? I don't know. She went into a mirror. There was no actual big finalizing scene to the film. It was just a here, let's have this chat. I remember you guys. I remember you guys. You were great. You were great. Everybody's great. Let's be kind. Love that. Great message, but give me some excitement. That was it. We chase her up the stairs and she falls into the mirror because she's no longer the fairest of them all and throws a hissy fit and smashes the mirror. That's it. That's all we had. We had no proper confrontation. We had no big fight. Everyone just stood and stared, gave big hugs, smiles. Everyone's great. Everyone's kind. Fantastic. Yes, love the message, but we can have some excitement behind it as well. The dwarfs as well. Like Emily said, the mining in the beginning, they put their hands on the diamonds and everything glows, and it's cool and it's amazing. And I really wanted to deep dive into that. Like Emily said, the Queen could have had them mining for something specific, and that something specific could have been what saved Snow in the end, rather than continuing to have the unconsensual kiss. But we won't carry on about that. And I know I'm probably going to get messages or comments being like, "Oh, stop being too woke. It's just a cute little Disney kiss." Da, 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 all this. But if you're going to change the little things in all the other films, you can change this one as well. It could have been just a quick kiss on the forehead, and it still could have had that magic touch to it. But there wasn't any real chemistry between the characters, anyways. So that minor change really wouldn't have done much. I will not be rewatching the film, unfortunately, and it wasn't the best time spent. However, it hasn't been the worst. So while this is mostly complaints, it's not entirely awful. And if you want to watch it, you can.
Short way of putting it is that it's not the greatest, it's not the worst, but it's definitely not one of the good ones. It's just in the bad category. That's how I would put it. Worst ones would be Lion King. This is just a little bit above it. So for the characters, Snow White. I'm what at first I thought Rachel. I did say that Rachel possibly couldn't be a good fit for Snow White, but after watching her, she's not as bad as I expected. She's not as great like what you guys said earlier. Her acting and facial expressions kind of look kind of robotic, like she was asked to play Snow White, but I felt like she wasn't trying to actually be Snow White. Like Snow White is meant to be kind of young, sweet, naive at times when the original. And I don't know, I felt like Snow White in this one just didn't felt too much grown up-ish for me. And I think it was kind of good actually in the film. The evil queen, not as evil as we hoped for. Like we know she did some bad things, and like she killed her father, killed Snow White's father off screen, which is annoyed which annoys me a bit because I feel like if she did, I want to see it. Like I want to see that evilness. And there wasn't enough hatred from like there wasn't enough for me to hate her or something to go crazy like damn I want this woman dead or something like I don't know it just felt like there was nothing much rooting for her like if you compare it to Lady Tremaine in the live action Cinderella like we see her emotionally abuse Cinderella being manipulative and we see her have a deeper reason why she hates the main character the Evil Queen didn't follow that same formula. Like we didn't understand her backstory. So it was just a shame. And I don't really blame the actors. Well, I mean, they could have maybe picked a better actress actually, but yeah. Jonathan, I'm going to be completely honest here. Whenever he's on screen, I keep asking myself, am I watching Robin Hood? Because they actually created a character that looks like a young version of Robin Hood. He's in green, he steals things. Does that remind you of anyone? I mean, they didn't really have to change the prince's story. I mean, if they kept it as a prince, they could have like, I don't know, developed a background between him and Snow and could have sparked out more of the chemistry. And there was some when there were scenes with him and Snow, like you guys said, there was absolutely no chemistry between them. Like there was like bickering and little disagreements, and we know we got that sense that they're gonna come together, obviously. But I don't know. I felt like there was nothing like there was no development in their relationship. There was like bickering, and bang, hit to the love part. It was just felt too rushed for me. Let's go to the worst part, the dwarfs. Disney, what the F are you doing? I get what Peter Dinklage said, but just to be completely honest, he's not the CEO of Disney. You didn't have to completely fall for his criticism. I mean, there are a lot of talented actors with dwarfism, and you could have many of them like sign up for this. Looking at the dwarfs now, they look like they just pop out from the Polar Express animated film. Like it looked so fake. And I couldn't enjoy the scenes with them because if they're funny or sad or happy, I couldn't feel that emotion because it just looked too animated and just looked too fake and unrealistic. So I couldn't really connect with them. And I think they ruined a few of the main characters. Like, first one is Dopey. Why the hell would you let this cute character talk? The whole point of him that he couldn't talk. He was just so expressive in his face and his movements. You should have saved that. I didn't know why they had to ruin that. Story wise, I'm kind of glad that they didn't copy the original like frame to frame like Lion King, and they tried to change up a bit. There was no story arc or character arc. The romance side of the story, for me, it felt like they were trying to follow the same formula from Anastasia and Dimitri, like the royal princess and the like poor guy and stuff like that. I don't know. I feel like they just really messed this up. And they rush so many scenes in the story, trying to get like to the new scenes. Like the Dark Forest, they could have made that a bit more scarier. They just really rushed through that. And then the Queen's scene when she was transforming into the old lady, they rushed that so far. She just took a drink and then changed. Where was that whole transformation when her skin was getting wrinkly and grey hair? It was just, oh, I'm so annoyed right now, like literally frustrating. And that final ending, again with the death scene, they had a most iconic death in the original. She was gonna kill the dwarves, then she got struck by lightning by a miracle really, and fell and got trampled down by a huge rock. How more iconic can you get? And they ruined that. One little tiny positive I have to say is that the film was a bit more colorful and had good lighting than some other films, really. One last thing are the songs. While I didn't really mind some of them, Waiting on a Wish is kind of a good song, and Rachel is a good singer. She's got a loud and powerful voice. However, I feel like for that kind of song, I feel like it wasn't kind of the right tone for Snow White. Like it's meant to be smooth and gentle, like from the original. And that's why I was saying earlier about whether Rachel was the right fit. Like she's a she portrays like a strong and confident woman. And while that's probably is great for Snow White to be as a character development, I feel like she needs to be a bit more naive and sweeter and softer, and that's what her song should be portrayed from through her personality, if that makes sense. And but the rest of the songs are forgettable. So, and you know what? This film could be forgettable. That's all I have to say. Guys, how would you rate this film? Emily, I'm going to start with you.
I think maybe 2.5.
Ooh, okay. Interesting.
I
Ellie?
was gonna go with a 3 and thought it was too harsh, but Emily's gone with a 2.5, so I'm
I
gonna
thought
stick
I
with
was
my
too
3.
generous.
Okay, maybe maybe a 3 is too generous. I'm gonna skip down to a 2.5 for Emily.
Grace.
2. I was going to say 1.5, but I feel like that was way too harsh. So I'm going to stay with 2. So, guys, that was our honest spoiler review, or to be honest, our honest roast of Snow White live action film of this year. We hope you enjoyed it. Like us roasting the film and not watching the film. Just don't watch the film, to be honest, guys. Thank you so much for watching this review. Before you leave, though, please make sure you like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. Leave a comment down below on your thoughts on the film if you had watched it. God bless you. And did you like it? Did you not? I mean, you obviously didn't like it, but if you did, what do you like about it? What do you dislike? And is there any live action films that you are excited for in the future, like Lilo and Stitch? You can check out our other reviews we've done in the past. We've done a few Disney reviews. We also done Disney debates, guys, like which one is better, Cinderella, Beauty and the Beast, Lion King, Little Mermaid, so many guys, check them out. We also done games, pranks, about us videos on our channel. You're gonna follow us on Twitter and Instagram. Check out our website. Thank you guys so much for watching, and we will see you next time. Bye.
Bye.